Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time with me today. I really do appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the founder and CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps childcare owners find success, both financially and also through research-based high-quality standards. So I am just coming off of my event that just took place, the Childcare Business Summit. So I am a little tired today, a little bit, you get this rush from going and going and going and meeting such amazing people to just kind of, it's done. And now I'm ready to breathe. So it was so wonderful meeting so many of you in person. I cannot even tell you how awesome it was meeting you guys. It was, I had such an amazing time hanging out with you, especially bringing you to Zooin. Those of you who got to come to my childcare center, it was amazing and wonderful. So I really appreciate you guys taking that time and going out there to check things out with me. I have to admit, it was a little nerve-wracking having so many owners and directors, just really stellar business people in early childhood education, joining me and seeing my center and what it actually looks like, and what I talk about all the time. It is a 5-star quality center. We are finishing up the NACE accreditation process, so it is the highest quality you can find. That is what inspired me to do this session this morning for the mindset. And I'm going to shift things a little bit. I talk a lot to you guys about the owner's mindset and director's mindset, but then over the next few weeks, I'm going to start really focusing on teacher's mindset and how can you help your teachers with their mindset, right? I was inspired to approach this by the tour I gave on Saturday. And it's nothing new. I hear the same things over and over and over, but it really struck me as everybody is walking through my classrooms. I can't tell you how many times and from different people I heard the same thing. Oh, I wish we could set up our classrooms like this, but I'm going to get pushback from my teacher. But, oh, this teacher would never go for that. And it always gets me. We do a lot of tours at Zooin, and the state, different agencies, our quality rating, the universities around us, they send people out to see our program a lot. They send people out for observations, and for several reasons, just to see how our teacher interactions. We have excellent teacher interactions. It's our classroom setup. A lot of different things, those components on how do we do visual expectations, so it's not always verbal expectations. So we are often a demonstration site. And so it's nothing new. I hear it all the time. How do you get your teachers to do this? How do you get your teachers to comply? And it always blows my mind because I don't know why they have a choice. Honestly, they shouldn't have a choice. In our programs, what is best for the children should always come first. Absolutely always, right? And that's it. Well, Brandy's comment, it's the children's classroom, not the teachers. Exactly. Absolutely. And Brandy knows spot on. I mean, there was times where I would have to go in there. And sometimes as a director and as an owner, we can't always be nice about things, right? We can always come with compassion, understanding, and empathy. But there are times where teachers and different staff members are honestly just being brats. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to put it. They're being prima donnas. They're just putting their own needs above the children's. And it's not even their needs. They don't need to have things a certain way. They're putting their own laziness, their own convenience, and their own desires over what is best for the children, right? And that is where it's really important for you as a leader to understand, when is a teacher actually struggling and when are they just being straight up selfish, right? And it is really hard for us as leaders, but we have to know, when is this happening? for the most part, I'm a very compassionate leader. And I do let people, I really, really, really try to let my staff do what they want to do. I let them have, just really, I try to come alongside them and make their job easier. That is one of my biggest goals all the time, always was, is how can we make their life easier? But when it comes to what is best for the children, when it comes to developmentally appropriate practices, best practices, and following quality research, that is where I have to draw the line. They have to. It is about the children, not about them. It is not about the teachers. It is about the children. We are in this business because we love children, and we are literally shaping the future of the world by taking care of these children. 90% of the brain is formed in the first 6 years of life. That is our responsibility. Do you really understand the gravity of the responsibility that you took on when you decided to be an ECE leader? Do your teachers understand the gravity of the responsibility they took on when they decided to step into a child care center, into a preschool classroom, into an infant toddler classroom? Whether you're in, I'm going to use some jargon, the itters or eckers, that is a response. It's a huge responsibility, right? It's a huge responsibility. And I understand we don't get paid enough in our field for how huge this job is, right? We should be getting paid what a professional athlete gets paid, what a professional football player, somebody in the NFL or the NBA. That's the kind of pay because we are literally shaping the course of the world, right? But we don't. And that's okay. I mean, in the perfect world, we would absolutely get what we're worth. But even if we're not, we still can't shy from how big this responsibility is, right? We cannot let teachers get away with not putting the children first. And I will tell you, if you are not making them put the children first, you are letting them get away. If your teachers get to choose, like, I really don't want to do sensory, it's messy, I don't like cleaning it up, so we just don't do sensory in the classroom, then you're letting your teachers get away with not putting the children first. So I really want you to think about that as a leader. That being said, it doesn't mean that we have to come down harshly on them all the time. That doesn't mean that we're always going to really just like write them up and put them on probation and force our way, right? There are things we can do to help them through this process. The first thing that we need to really focus on, and the first thing I want you to think about as a leader yourself, is how much do you know about child development? How much do your teachers know about child development? My first degree, first or second, I don't remember. I was obsessed with going to college. I went to college for 16 years. I have a lot of degrees, but I actually went for secondary education. And secondary education, I did my student teaching in high school and everything. One of the things that blew me away when I went to school to basically teach in the public school system is that there is no requirement to know anything about child development. Teaching degrees don't teach child development. You don't need to know what a child's brain works like. You don't even know how they function in order to teach children. And that is true for ECE as well, right? I mean, if you have a degree in ECE, you do take child development classes, right? We are so much more developmentally appropriate in ECE, which is why our quality is so much higher than the K through 12 system in the United States. But I want you to really think about that. How are people in the classroom, how are these adults in the classroom dealing with children if they don't understand how their brains work, right? How are your teachers dealing with children if they don't understand basic child development? If they don't know what is appropriate for a child, if they don't know how much a child can handle? One of the biggest things when I'm doing behavior coaching that I see is that teachers have way too high expectations for children. And we do that as parents also, right? We expect so much when they're not capable of doing as much as we expect of them. We put so much blame on the children because we don't understand what they are capable of doing. 90% of a child's behavior issue is going to lie in the adult, not the child. It is the adult's fault. It is one of the biggest things that my staff gets angry with me for saying, I have to say. I think at this point in my career, they're used to it and they don't really care anymore. But early on in my career, I used to get so much pushback for saying that. If you have behavior issues in your classrooms, I can guarantee you, I have no doubt in my mind, it is something your program is doing. There is something you can do to make it better. Absolutely. Behavior is regulated by the adults. Children look to the adults for guidance. The problem is most adults don't know. They don't know what to do. They don't know what the children are capable of. So instead of taking accountability, looking within ourselves as leaders and as teachers and saying, how can I fix this? What am I doing to cause these behaviors? What am I not doing to help these behaviors? We place blame on children. Well, that child's just a biter. Well, that child's just out of control. Oh, that child, I'm going to expel them. You know, our program, we have never kicked out a child for behavior. Never. I've never had it necessary. Now, if you were at my summit over the weekend or last week, you know I did explain to you the link that we go through to make sure and how we deal with behavior issues. My behavior plan is, I don't know, Brandy, 4 or 5 page document at this point, but it is the center of what we're doing. Think about our job as ECE professionals, right? We are literally forming this person's personality. We are literally forming their personality. We are helping them develop their 7 executive brain functioning skills. So if your teacher is not putting that first, if they understand brain development, right? And of course, they don't need a neuro degree, right? They just need an overview. Even if it's just in their specific age group, they need to understand how the child's brain functions. They need to know what the children are actually capable of. They need to know how the children learn. They need to be able to see the world through the child's eyes, right? That may be the disconnect alone. That right there solves so many of the problems. When a teacher isn't willing to do what is best for the child, most of the time, it's because they don't understand what's best for the child. That's it. Now, on the other hand, if you've given them all these tools, they understand what's best for the child. They understand how the child's brain works. They know that having a classroom that has lots of micro rooms inside it, right? If they really understand what a developmentally appropriate classroom setup looks like, and they're still not willing to do it because to them it feels too cluttered. They don't like picking up a bunch of toys. They don't like having like a bunch of centers open, or they're trying to close centers or overregulate children. You have a problem. That is just absolute selfishness in that point. And that's when you have to take action as a supervisor and do write-ups, even terminate. The children have to come first. And I think we are at a point in our society where we allow too many of our teachers to intimidate us because we are afraid to lose them. We are so scared not to have that warm body in the classroom that we're afraid to do what's best for the children. We're afraid to write them up. We're afraid to hold them accountable, right? But at the same time, you're really sabotaging yourself if you don't, because what you're doing is you're creating subpar quality, which makes the classroom a lot harder to work in. When teachers understand how a classroom should work, how a classroom should be set up, their job becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier. The problem is that a lot of teachers don't want to even give it a chance to check that out. And if they don't, they need to go. I know that's harsh, but they need to go. And Brandy is on here. She knows several times we've lost some people that, you know, we personally loved. It was hard. It is very painful sometimes for us. We bond with these people, but if they're not willing to put the children first because of their desires, they have to go. I know that is really a tough pill to swallow. But as you start leveling up in your quality and you start seeing things become better, a lot of things start happening, right? You can charge higher prices. There's a lot more opportunities that come out of the woodwork. We get a lot of opportunities because of the position that we have put our center in, right? So I get a lot of funding opportunities. If my passion, for those of you who don't know, is to make sure all children, regardless of their socioeconomic status, has access to high quality childcare. So although I am priced pretty high, I also make sure that children who can't afford it have access to my program, right? That's not cheap, but my high quality standards has put us in a position where I do have other funding opportunities, right? But if I allowed these teachers to come in and basically dictate how my center is ran, which is what you're doing, if you're not standing up to your teachers and you're allowing them to tell you how they're going to set up their classroom, and you're allowing them to tell you how things are going to go, they are running your center. You are not running your program. So if this is what you're doing in this case, you're probably not attracting employees. You probably do have a very hard time hiring. You probably don't have a recruiting model, and there's probably not a lot of people who want to work for you. And that could be part of your hiring problem. The other thing is retention. If this is happening, your classrooms are probably tough. You probably have some behavior issues, and you probably have some pretty good turnover, right? The higher quality your classrooms are, the less turnover you're going to have. The higher quality people you're going to attract. So really keep that in mind. I mean, a lot of your struggles, a lot of times are happening because you're too scared to enforce the rules, and you're too scared to actually be the boss, to be honest with you. So I want you to really think about it. Okay, so let me see what we have here. Thank you for the Cretia. So thank you for this. With the labor shortages, this is hard, but I know it needs to be. Yes, absolutely. And Cretia, keep in mind, there are other centers, right? I know you and you're one of my clients, so we've talked about your competitors, and there's other clients. When you set yourself above the rest and everybody knows that you are the quality program, they're going to want to come work for you. It does become easier. Now, that being said, I have a specific employee who pops into my head who literally came to my assistant director and basically said that she didn't want to work for a program where she was held to standards. And so sometimes they won't want to work for you because they're lazy and they are basically just selfish. There's no way to sugarcoat that. They're just lazy and selfish, and they don't want to be held to standards. But do you really want those people working for you? Is that really the type of employee you want anyway? When that employee quit, I was shocked. I mean, I guess it was nice to have her so honest to tell us that she basically didn't want to work. She just wanted to be lazy, and she doesn't care for quality. But I was shocked. It is shocking when you hear people who basically just want to float through life. And but at the same time, I was very grateful that she was honest, because that is not the type of person I want on my team. That is absolutely not the type of person, and she is not a fit for my center. So when you hold people to these standards, you are going to weed out those poor quality people, and the high quality people, you will attract them. They're going to want to work for your program because your reputation will fly on its own. When people start hearing about you, you will attract the right people. So let's see. Good morning. I am actually trying to use my phone as well so I can see who is, let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I should not be looking down like this, but I wanted to make sure I see everybody. Yes, I'll share this with everybody. Oh, good, Tiffany. I'm glad you want to share this with everybody. So next quote, let's build them up. Build relations, and staff is easier to do what is needed. Yes, absolutely. Brandy's comment and not all of you guys are on the same platform, so I like to read the comments. Build them up, build relationships with staff, and they easily do what is needed. They do. When you empower staff and you help them to understand how important their job is, right? That is the other thing that we're really, really good at, is we help them focus on why is this job so important? Why is the job you're doing just why are you changing the world? How are you affecting lives, right? Again, at the summit, we were talking about this, and we showed an example of a specific child from my center. And we basically showed how we have changed the trajectory of this child's life. That child may never remember me. He's going to grow up, and there's plenty of them that I've worked with who don't remember me, but I can look at them, right? I love following families on Facebook because in my career, yes, I'm going to date myself right now, but I have children who have graduated from college at this point. And I can look at their lives and I know that I had a hand in shaping that. I know the trajectory of their life and where it was going, right? I know that the skills we gave those children between the ages of 0 to 6 are why that child just graduated from Purdue, right? And I know that that seems like a lot, but it is absolutely true. The work you are doing now is building the 7 major brain executive functionings, such as time management, your ability to adapt and cope, how you work with a team, how you process information, how you problem solve. So I want you to think about that. When a child goes to high school and they're now trying to compete for scholarships to get to college, what skills are they going to need? They're going to need to cope, right? Because that is really a lot of pressure. They're going to need to be able to time manage. They're going to need to be able to problem solve. And they're going to be able to have self-regulation. Self-regulation is a huge one, right? Those are all skills that we teach children in early childhood education. That is our job. So you are literally helping these people become successful adults. That is our job. Our job as early childhood professionals is to help children become successful adults. And we are literally building that foundation, right? That their entire life is going to be built on. We all know that person who is hard to manage, who doesn't get along with others and doesn't work well in a team. Those traits formed the first 5 years of life. That is the job we took on. And it is the most important work in the world. So helping your teachers to really understand that is vital. When they really, really understand that, suddenly they want to learn what a proper classroom should look like. How should it function? How should it be supplied, right? And those of you who toured my center, you guys saw how intentional every little thing in those classrooms are, from what we put on the back of shelves. And I even talked to you guys about how many of each item goes into a container, how many blocks is in each container, what items are in each center, right? We went through one classrooms where I showed you guys an example of how one room had 14 different learning centers and how we actually arrange it so that only anywhere from 1 to 4 children can play in each center. We even have our designations. We have 2 designations, visual designations in each center, so children know how many children are allowed in that center. The expectations are everywhere. The designations, we have it set up so we don't get things like rustling and running through the classroom. And there's just so much that goes into a classroom setup, right? That this classroom itself acts as a teacher, and it helps to just really diminish behavior issues because we are so intentional about, okay, a 2-year-old likes to climb. So then maybe we should have a rock climbing wall in the 2-year-old classroom so that they're not climbing on furniture. We have to give them these outlets, right? But you can't do that if you don't know child development. So I want you to sit back and ask yourself, what kind of education do your teachers have? Do they understand what the children's needs are? If they don't understand how their brain functions, what they need, how much are they capable of, what kind of needs do they have, what are they interested in, where is their brain developing right now, then they won't know how to set up a classroom. They won't know what needs to go in it. And even if you do, they're not going to trust it because they don't know, right? They're not going to know what kind of activities are developmentally appropriate. There is so much that goes into it. It is a huge, huge, huge subject, right? So just start there, because it's not always your teacher's fault. Now, if you have a great education program, and you guys, the other thing I have to say is, do not rely on somebody's degree for this, because not all degrees are created equally. I usually like to make sure that my teachers are trained myself, because not everybody knows this, even with degrees. I love CDAs, but there's some new types of CDAs out there that are just basically you're paying for it. You're not getting much of an education. So just be really careful with that. And that's why we teach it intentionally in my center. And I don't rely on somebody's background education, and I really don't rely on their experience. I actually prefer no experience, because we usually have to untrain bad habits. But let me see what else we have. What kind of funding opportunities? So Heather, there are so many funding opportunities out there. The problem is with ECE is you have to really get out there. It's kind of almost like a rite of passage to a certain extent. And it is something I train my members on in my membership program, on how I do get a lot of funding opportunities. And my program literally, I can tell you guys, thinking of a number, on average, I easily get over 100,000 a year in funding opportunities. And that's a very conservative estimate. I'm just kind of going over the last 4 years in my mind, and I actually can't think of a year I got less than 150, to be honest. But it's really just a lot of networking. Like, I do a lot of networking. I require my director to network, just getting out there and making your presence known in the ECE community, getting your presence known in the community in a whole, and really verbalizing what you do and why, right? When you let people know the work you're doing, but I have to say, you have to have that high quality, and the quality has to come from research. It can't just be, well, I think that's quality. It's not. If you use things like ABC Mouse, if you photocopy ditto sheets that kids are tracing, you probably don't have a high quality program. But that's where you need to learn what is research-based high quality, right? When you get there, the door to opportunity is amazing. It is amazing. But in order to get that, I do invite people into my center all the time. I invite just different people within the ECE, like licensing, the NAUIC is a great network to start. That is absolutely where I would start. Find your local AUIC chapter, get involved there. The universities, go to the ECE departments at any community colleges, the universities, see what they have going on, get to know them, invite them to your center. Ask them for help. If you have a quality rating program in your state, go to them. Absolutely. Basically, find everything in your state that has to do with ECE, right? Any government agencies, any licensing agencies, any nonprofits such as AUIC, that is probably the best place to start. Any quality rating, right? Accreditation, anything like that. Start networking with them. It doesn't cost anything, but it does cost your time. But it is vital to getting that kind of funding, the opportunity. Let's see. I've got to see who the woman who said preach it. It just says Facebook users. If you guys can tell, this is actually what I'm mostly passionate about. I love training you guys on business and how to have a successful business, but my passion lies in the quality for the classroom. And ironically, my specialty is classroom management. That is, even though I don't teach it so much, which I'll probably start teaching it soon a little bit more, my passion does lie in high quality standards. I'll tell you guys one thing. I'll give you guys a quick cheat on when I'm educating parents on how to find a high quality center. There's one quick thing I teach them that they can do to tell how high quality a center is. I tell them to look at the displays in the wall. And I basically tell them, if you see artwork that's all like above 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet, if it's all up high on the wall, it's a low quality center. If the classrooms don't have anything low enough for the children to just walk up and actually touch it, and 90% of it should be down under 4 feet where the children can reach it, touch it, feel it, see it. If it's not, it's a low quality center. That is the quickest, easiest way. When you guys post pictures of your centers on Facebook, and then everybody's just like, oh my gosh, look at this great new classroom design. Well, that's that is probably the first thing I look at. And I just kind of roll my eyes a lot of times because like, oh gosh, yeah, it looks cute for you. It's pretty and all, but that's not a good classroom. The other thing I tell them is look at the furniture. Is it all pushed against the wall? Do they have a lot of furniture pushed against the wall? If they do, it is not a high quality program. Furniture needs to be out. Furniture needs to be used to separate and create micro rooms within one large room, right? So that the children have these little areas. Those are the two big things that I tell parents to look for is where is the artwork hanging in the wall? Where are the displays? If you've got like a whiteboard up here and they're writing on it, low quality program, absolute low quality program, right? Now, on the other hand, if there's a whiteboard down below and the children have access to write on it, that tells me you're a high quality program. If I see paint that's left out and open for the children to freely explore, that's a high quality program. And those are teachers who know how to manage a classroom. Those are the little cheats that I tell to the parents. Now, don't get me wrong, you can have displays up high also, but a quality program knows that anything that is above that, like say maybe 4 foot line, maybe even 3 feet, 3 to 4 feet, anything above that is there for adults. That is not there for the children. It is not. So it's okay. You can have displays for the adults. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. But most of your displays should be below for the children. Anything down below is for the children. They should be able to see it, access it, like actually look straight at it, right? Their artwork should be there. So they can take pride and ownership in their classroom. There's so many. I teach on this. It's, gosh, on my classroom design, I don't know, it's like a 4-hour long course. So that's just my quick summary on how I tell parents when my parents are leaving us and they're moving to different locations. I tell them that's the quickest, easiest way that you can tell if you're looking at a quality program or not. So let's see. Yes, that was me, Prerna. Yes, of course, Prerna. That's why I love working with you, Prerna. You and I are so perfectly aligned in that. We understand the importance of high quality and the outcomes for the children. And that's why I'm teaming up with Prerna. Prerna and I are actually forming a partnership where you can work with both of us together. She's amazing when it comes to behavior and classroom management. That's part of the reason I don't teach this so much anymore, because there are amazing people like Prerna. So, let's see. No, and Heather, please do not be sorry for the questions. I absolutely don't mind at all. I actually appreciate it. It gets lonely on the side of the classroom, so I love the interaction. So let me see. Where is your center? I would love to tour. I'm in Fernley, Nevada. Heather, what state are you in? I'm always open to tours. I just, gosh, how many of us were there at Zooin? I think there was 14 of us. I just toured owners and directors on Saturday. So I have an open door policy. I'm always happy to give you guys tours. My passion is to elevate the ECE profession. And that if I can do it by showing you guys Zooin around and showing you what a high quality program looks like, and that I'm more than happy to do that for you. So you're in Reno. Oh my gosh, Heather, yeah, come out to Fernley. Absolutely. If you're in Reno, come out. I will absolutely show you Zooin. Be happy to show you our program. And yeah, please do not mention Joe. Do not even worry about it. Let's see. Yeah, I actually was thinking about doing a virtual tour. That is not a bad idea. I would be open to a virtual tour. I know for my members, I do have a few virtual tours for my members where I film, and I do have training units where I film and explain to them, why is this set up this way? Why does it look this way? Why are displays done this way? And as I know it's hard, and it's taken us, gosh, it's taken 20 years to get where we are, where I know what you guys are thinking. If I put the children's artwork on the wall, they're going to just tear it up, right? I get that. We've been there, done that. We've found solutions. So there's no reason for you guys to try and figure out how to reinvent the wheel when we've already been through it, found ways to overcome it, and found ways that work. So yeah, let me figure out how maybe I'll do one of these and do a quick virtual tour on one of my Mindset Mondays, because I do want to start focusing on how you guys can help your teachers with mindset. Because even though I have a ton of videos, you guys can go watch. I have over a year. I probably have 75 mindset videos I've already done. You guys can go watch replays of them. I have my podcast, which, yes, I promise I am relaunching. That is my priority this week. I don't know how many people approached me at the Child Care Business Summit last weekend, like, where is your podcast? So it is coming back, I promise. But I have a lot. So now on leadership mindset. So I'm going to start helping you guys with focusing on how can we fix our teachers' mindset, right? Get them motivated to a place that they need to be. So that is what I have for you guys today, but I am going to give myself a quick plug, really quick. For my members, if you're interested in becoming a member in my program, this is the kind of thing I teach in depth. We really go more in depth in this, but I'm actually also doing a series right now. I just started it last week. We do have the session recorded, so anything I've taught is recorded and accessible for my members. But I'm training my future directors. We actually have 6 ladies in training right now for my childcare centers, who will be directors and assistant directors, and my members can join that in for free. Or not, well, it's part of my membership program. My membership program costs something, but it is part of my membership where I'm literally on Zoom live as I train my own team on how to be directors. So this kind of thing, we really go into depth on training them to run a center. So as I'm doing this training module with them, I will be training them on what does classroom setup mean? How do you really lift your teachers up in this area? How do you protect? There's just so much, you guys. There is so much to running a successful childcare center, which is why it is, we do every Thursday morning, Thursday Pacific time morning, we are doing a training where you guys can participate live. If that's something you're interested in, look into my membership, message me, or my, can you join the training module without being a member? No, unfortunately, you do have to actually be a member in order to join that training. At this time, I don't have it set up as like a separate module yet. I might do that when it's complete, but since we're in progress, I don't have that set up yet. But if you are a member, you get access to everything, including the training, that training, and any of my other trainings. Also, you get access to me. I do a weekly office hour. And in my office hour, basically, you can log on Zoom. I just sit on Zoom, and just like a college professor's office hour, I'm available to pick my brain, talk to me. We problem solve. We do what you need. And you have access to all my past trainings. You also have access to all my manuals, my parent handbook, my onboarding. You get a 6-month employee onboarding, completely done for you. You just have to change the names and tweak it to make it fit your center. My employee handbook, my employee policies and procedures, my parent handbook, everything. So if that's something you're interested in, send me a message and I'd be happy to schedule a call, explain it in more detail, let you know what my members get. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I so appreciate those of you who were here with me either virtually or live for the Child Care Business Summit. Bye, everybody.